Hey, today I'll be talking about episodes 52 through 54 of RuYi's Royal Love. At this point, RuYi is pretty confident that Jia played a big part in Mei's actions and eventual death, and she starts putting the pressure on, giving hints that she knows about Seventh Prince's death.
生斗的事儿，若要怪，也只能怪他自己福薄吧。
And the way all the other women just immediately pile on whenever they get the chance.
你是说七阿哥和孝贤皇后福薄吗？
你放下这些话，可是对孝贤皇后和七阿哥的大不敬。
嘉贵妃如此出言不敬，臣妾以为不能坐视不理。
臣妾请皇后娘娘对嘉贵妃施以惩戒，以正宫规。
Yikes. How the hell has Jia not learned to shut her mouth yet? You know RuYi is in power. You know no one likes you. What do you get out of saying stuff like this? When Jia was more favored, running her mouth was reckless, but now it's just stupid. She's punished to paint 100 prayer flags for the Empress and her son. RuYi tells the Emperor again about her suspicions over Jia, but again he's like, that's not really evidence. I do appreciate that he never tries to undermine her authority in the harem though. If she decides to punish someone, he's always like, okay, great, and usually just makes the punishment even harsher. Arguments aside, they always put up a united public front, and that is actually pretty important. The Emperor's health continues to get worse, and he begins asking for drugs that are quite risky. Dr. Zhang is trying to take things slow and shoot for a gradual recovery, but the Emperor wants a fast fix. Since the creepy eunuch spends all day eavesdropping, he knows that this is really bothering him and suggests to Yanwan that she get some deer blood for him. If he drinks it with wine, it will give him energy and has some aphrodisiacal-like properties, but only short term. The long-term effects are not good, which is why Dr. Zhang won't give it to him. But for creepy eunuch and Yanwan, it's just whatever it takes to get the Emperor's favor. The Emperor gets so into it that it begins to affect his public reputation. RuYi finds out and goes to Yanwan's place to get to the bottom of things. She finds the Emperor inside with Yanwan and some of his younger girls. It's the middle of the day, but he's drunk as hell and too embarrassed to face her. He tells Yanwan to ask her to leave. Yanwan apologizes, saying she tried to convince the Emperor not to do this, but she can't disobey his orders, which is nonsense.
你若劝不住皇上，大可以来告诉本宫和太后。
RuYi is getting ready to bring down the hammer on Yanwan and the other girls, and finally the Emperor comes outside, clearly smashed. He tries to brush it off as nothing, but RuYi sees it as the serious lapse of judgment that it is. When RuYi won't let him off the hook, he begins to get defensive and then angry. RuYi still doesn't back down and tells him to drink some tea to sober up. He doesn't take it well. He sends her back home, saying he's staying with Yanwan, and RuYi says if he insists on being like this, she'll kneel outside until he sees reason. Despite his dismissive attitude, it's too much tension. The Emperor obviously can't relax and drink with Yanwan while his Empress is kneeling outside, but he also can't go out and admit he was wrong, so... Finally, RuYi passes out. When she wakes up, we find out that she's pregnant. This is such a weird way to wake up, kind of reminds me of the end of Return of the King. I guess the effects of that sterility bracelet have finally worn off years after she stopped wearing it. So with an excuse to make up, the Emperor gives RuYi the most half-hearted apology. He admits that he's been terrified lately of dying and just wanted to feel healthy again. He promises not to see Yanwan until their baby is 1 month old. Or how about just get rid of her entirely? But okay, we'll take what we can get. I'm glad Yanwan is being punished for encouraging the Emperor to drink deer blood, and yes, she is at fault, but it really cracks me up that the Emperor is not taking any responsibility for his actions.
那你觉得是朕的错？
皇上当然没错。
那就只能是你的错。
What? The Emperor is trash. With some more good news, Jia tells the Emperor that she is pregnant as well. Further along than RuYi is, so if they both manage to carry to term and have princes, Jia should have the 11th prince followed by RuYi's 12th prince. Jia is ridiculously fertile, but she has such bad luck when it comes to timing. This is the second time she's had a pregnancy be overshadowed by the Empress suddenly conceiving. With all the favorites either pregnant or being punished, the Empress Dowager suggests an official concubine selection. It comes and goes, and the Emperor chooses 3 women, 1 new noble lady and 2 new first-class female attendants. The Emperor isn't making the same mistake again and is sure that they have no outside loyalties. They are young, very lively, but polite and well-mannered. Well, to everyone but Yanwan. The story has gotten around and everyone knows that Yanwan plays seducing the Emperor for the short term over taking care of his health in the long term. And again, just zero accountability for the Emperor. Everyone avoids her like the plague, and even the new additions don't respect her and do the bare minimum as her status dictates. As the months pass, the Emperor and RuYi make up and are looking forward to the baby. But before that, Jia gives birth to her 4th son, the 11th prince. Finally, it's time for the Empress to give birth. She had been leaving hints all pregnancy so everyone would think that she was pregnant with a daughter and leave her alone, but when the time comes, she safely gives birth to the 12th prince. Jia is of course not happy to hear the news, and she's clearly been raising her sons to be resentful of her as well. So now 3rd, 4th, and 5th prince, birthed by Chun, Jia, and Hailan respectively, are the eldest of 8 princes. 4th prince is the standout, but the reality is 5th prince is better than him in most disciplines. He's just been taught by Hailan not to stand out. The emperor arranges for a hunting trip, inviting the favored consorts and the elder princes. I love the environments and CG in this drama, just so cool looking, and you really get to see just how awe-inspiring the royal family is. The hunting grounds are the same place Yunche was sent as punishment for stealing Jia's panties, and though it's been 2 years, RuYi has not forgotten him. Unfortunately, Jia hasn't either, and she runs into him first. She wastes no time telling her son to get to whipping.
饶不了你!
RuYi comes out in time to put a stop to it. RuYi is only this confident when she's defending someone else, and I love that about her. By the way, have you noticed how ridiculously big Jia's hair is?
滚开！
When they're finally left alone, it's clear that there's no love lost between the two of them. If I had to rank all the relationships in this drama, it's these two first, then Suoxin and Dr. Zhang, and third, Hailan and RuYi.
这时候哪能摸得出来啊？都还没显怀呢。
RuYi has always said she didn't want to become the empress, but man, does she do it well. She's really come into her own. The confidence and regality she exudes is just great. And she handles the emperor so well. To be fair to the previous empress, RuYi knows the emperor loves her, and so she's able to be much more confrontational than any of the other women would dare to be. Still, it would have been so easy for her to follow along and leave him to drink, hoping he would eventually figure out he was being an idiot. But she cares too much about him to do that. Even if she puts herself at risk, she wants what's best for him. I mean, if she were not pregnant, how would this have ended? She could have really gotten herself into some trouble. And you know what? As awfully as he's behaving, I can see the emperor's side as well. Despite his godlike position, he's still a person. He's like that kid who never had a childhood and finally gets a chance to relax and goes too far. He's finally getting out from under his mother's thumb, finally doing what he wants, and then for RuYi to show up and become that mother figure again, yeah, she's doing it because it's what's best for him, but to the drunk emperor, she's just another figure trying to force him to do what she wants with rules and regulations. A lot of the emperor's actions are only so terrible because of his position. Like, day drinking isn't a crime, but it kind of is when your day drinking can destroy a country. Ignoring your wife after an argument doesn't make you a bad person, but it kind of does when ignoring your wife causes her, her family, and all her servants to suffer. And now we're adding even more consorts to the mix. They're chill, not here to start any drama, just here for a good time. The emperor specifically picked them because they seem that way, but you know, people can pretend to be what they're not. Speaking of which, what a life 5th Prince is leading, having to pretend to be weaker and stupider than he is all the time. To put it bluntly, he has become an accomplished liar. And while I know, of course, it's for his safety, the way Hailan is raising him is a bit worrying at times. Mostly it's that it seems like she's just raising him to be support for RuYi and now her son. 5th Prince has some totally understandable feelings about the new prince.
会不会不像以前那样疼儿子了？
And Hailan is just like,
Listen, we owe everything to RuYi. We will love and serve her and her son no matter what. Do you hear me?
Hailan just got really lucky that he's such a sweet kid. It would have been so easy for it to go the other way and for her to end up with a jealous, bitter son hell-bent on getting rid of RuYi, who his mother has always thought of first. Lastly, I couldn't fit it in because it's unrelated to anything, but Suoxin is pregnant, and I literally teared up just hearing that. I love her and Dr. Zhang so much. I wish them all the happiness in the world. And now for a look at the book. Let's talk about how much worse the confrontation scene is in the book. To set the scene, so the emperor, is afraid of getting old, so he's drinking that deer blood. In addition to that, he's making the palace's wet nurses pump breast milk so he can drink it. So we find out, RuYi goes to confront him, and the girls come out with their buttons undone, hair a mess, you get the idea. It's implied in the drama, but confirmed in the book that this was a straight-up sixsome. And then, they are so rude. They don't even pretend to be respectful. One of the girls says, "Are you taking your anger out on us because the emperor is no longer interested in you?" Like, what? And this girl is 20 years her junior. Then, the emperor comes out after RuYi has been disrespected like this, and do you know what he says to her? He says, "You ruined my mood at night, and now you come here to ruin my mood during the day as well." That night, when he couldn't perform in bed, took it out on her, and she was nothing but caring, loving, and understanding. In his head, that turned into she ruined his mood. Because of course it wasn't his fault. It had to have been RuYi. And he said this in front of all of them. Then, when he gets angry and throws the bowl, she gets cut, she's bleeding, and he still goes inside with Yenwon. And at this point, you're like, okay, this is not getting any worse. And then you're treated to the most disgusting conversation between Yenwon and the Emperor while RuYi is kneeling and bleeding outside. Yenwon goes inside with the Emperor and is all, "Don't be angry, baby," and he's complaining about RuYi and how overbearing she is. Then Yenwon says she can understand why RuYi is upset about drinking the deer blood. She very coyly says, "I'm a little afraid of it too." He asks her what she means and she's like, "Oh, I'm just afraid I won't be able to handle you." Because, it's like an aphrodisiac. So, bam, of course, this works perfectly for the Emperor who's been feeling insecure. Here's this young, pretty woman who's like, "Oh my God, you're so virile. You're so strong. I can't even handle you." It pushes every button perfectly for him. And Yenwon is deliberately laughing and speaking loudly so RuYi, who again is still outside, kneeling and bleeding, can hear them. The Emperor continues saying some gross stuff to her, and unlike in the drama, he's having a grand old time. I'm pretty sure he would have banged Yenwon right then and there had it not been for her fainting. I don't have the words. And this makes me so fearful for what's to come because the future scenes, those future scenes related to Yunche, they're terrible. And I mean the worst thing I've ever seen in a harem drama, hands down. But so far I found that every scene in the drama is like a tamed down version of the scene in the book. So I'm afraid. Till next time, thanks for watching.